Hey viewers, George here to do a George Talk video dib dab jibber jab bops. So I'm here to talk about a video game, beta of a video game that's going to be coming out on November 20th, I think it is. Whatever, it's coming out on like November 26th, 5th, something like that. And of course, if you haven't read the title of the video, I'm honestly talking about PlayStation All-Stars Battle Royale. I am part of the PlayStation Plus people, so I was lucky enough to get into the public beta, which is really cool. And of course I have my own problems with it, but hopefully those are just problems that pertain towards the beta itself and not the actual game. Okay, so where do I start? If you don't know anything about what PlayStation All-Star Battle Royale is, it's basically if Sony did Super Smash Brothers. That's the best way to put it. They're going to have like a slew of PlayStation characters, like they're going to be there. You can check the site out, they got a list of them there. But in this beta, they only give you 6 of those many that they have. So you get to try out Sweet Tooth, hold on, yeah, Kratos, Sweet Tooth, Fat Princess, Parappa the Rapper, Sly Cooper, and those people from Killzone, I guess. I don't fucking play that game. I guess they're like raiders or something. And each of them are slightly different. Like, I noticed that Sweet Tooth's a bit more of a slower character. Yeah, like, you try to do like a grab with him, and it takes like fucking forever compared to if you use like Parappa. It's like, boo boo! So, the characters that they show, the 6 of them, all have slightly different, and they work a little differently. So, if these 6 are any promises, everyone's gonna have like a different character that's acts a little bit different, and none of them really play exactly the same, which is really good because that's what makes these kind of games really good, when people use not only their favorite characters but their preferable played characters, and whatnot. My only complaint about actually, it's not really about the characters, so I guess I'll go to that complaint later. So the characters they give you are really cool. The controls for the game are actually really good and are just different enough. I mean, like, if you want to jump, you press X. That's like becomes a little more standard. You have a square, triangle, and circle that performs the various attacks, and then depending on if you're aiming in a certain direction or whatever, it depends on the style of the attack. And on top of that, grabbing is also something that's a little more interesting in this compared to Brawl, where you use the one of the sticks to grab depending on what direction you want to send the grab towards, which I think is really cool. Because then it's like if you want to do more ground combos, if you want to throw them in the air or whatever, or if you want to throw them into a trap of some sorts, or like an environmental hazard, you can do that, which is really, really cool. But beyond that, there's nothing too crazy to talk about. I think my only problem with the controls, and this is such a small thing, but I want to highlight it anyways, and actually this goes in the characters as well, is there's only one taunt, which might be like, oh, George, that's not really anything that I'll complain about. Brawl has their characters with, I think, about 3 to 4 different taunts for each character. So why can't do this? So that gives the character a little more personality, is all I'm saying. Because that's what you like in your characters, is personality. What was I going to say that had to do with characters after the taunt? I guess I can't remember it. Oh, each of the characters, as far as I can tell, only have one entrance pose, and that doesn't make any sense. It's sort of like, okay, when you start the battle, each character does their little like entrance, like, oh, here I am, or I'm going to take you down. Each character appears to only have one entrance pose, and once again, this might sound like really nitpicky, but think of it like this: if, I don't know, say every single player chooses the exact same character, you're going to hear the exact same thing 4 times in a row. And that's a little annoying. And it once again, this also contributes to like personality of each character. It's sort of like doesn't really give the character that much more of a personality compared to where in Brawl, like I guess like even in Brawl, the intros are slightly different. It's hard to explain, but that's just like one of my small complaints. Okay, so the actual game itself, unlike Brawl, where the goal is to destroy your opponent or whatever. So like either take down all of his health, get rid of his stocks that he has, like his lives, or what have you. In this one, each battle appears to be timed, and whoever just sort of kills enough people, I guess, using supers, because the only way you can actually kill anyone is using a super ability, which there are 3 of them, and depending on each level depends on how better the super is, in most cases. I mean, like, for Sly instance, his 1 is a lot easier to use than his 2, which he's using like a rocket pack or something like that, and he goes around throwing missiles, but it's like fucking impossible to hit anyone because they're already running fucking away from you, and like some levels aren't good for certain characters. But I mean, like, the supers are really weird, because like some of them, like Parappa's supers are fucking like almost overkill in some sense, and then when you play a character like Sly, he sort of gets like the short end of the stick when it comes to the supers. You know, Parappa, his first one is if you're near an enemy and you're facing them, you'll send them flying. And that's for most of the characters' supers at the 1 level is like that. You can at least get 1 person. The second one for Parappa is he becomes practically invincible and he's on this skateboard or whatever. Which I don't even remember Parappa having a skateboard. I don't know. And then, you know, with Sly, his is the jetpack. Parappa's super at level 3. He does one like one of his songs or whatever, and it takes everyone out. Everyone on the field gone. Sly is a little more trickier, where you have to actually find them on the map. But I guess in the same sense, if you take them out, they will eventually come back and you can get them again. But that means also the players have a chance to avoid getting hit by your supers. So it's like, feels a little unfair, and then what ends up happening is like people will start playing as your characters because they know that their supers tend to be a lot better. And I mean, like, Parappa seems to be a really a cheap character to use almost, because I mean, even one of his like standard attacks is he can like set the jukebox or the boombox guy down, and he'll start spitting out the things, which gives you more super, like, adds to your super bar. And I'm going, wow. I mean, sure, other people can pick it up, but I mean, Parappa sort of gets the first dibs on that. It just seems like a little cheap, and I guess he is like a beginning sort of character, but even at that, it's a little cheap. And I can see people really sort of like finding ways to use it to become more of like an OP character sort of thing. So, in that sense, I guess some of the characters feel a little unbalanced, but they feel different in playstyle, which it's sort of unfair, I guess. But I mean, another thing that would lead to is people being like, "Oh, if you're playing as that character, we don't want to play it with you." Because I mean, people online tend to be like that. Don't deny there are people like that. So, that definitely brings up like some problems that could potentially happen, and I was hoping they would be able to avoid it, but I guess they didn't. A thing about the battle. So, yeah, you basically are timed, and you have to kill people using your supers. I don't really like that so much. Like, this might be because I've played Brawl as my preferred fighter game, but you know, when you have to hit people enough times to gather a certain amount to be able to actually get a kill or a KO or whatever, it's not as fun as like trying to knock your opponents off the edge of the field and seeing if they'll be able to like rebound back into play like you can in Brawl, where it's more fun, it has a little more challenge, and you know, you could basically win by pure skill. And here it's sort of like, if you bash someone's head in enough, you'll win. Not so much like, you know, skill or challenge. Mind you, that it is a little difficult to play the game. I'm pretty shitty at fighters, so I don't know. I guess that doesn't really lead to anything. But, you know, I was able to win once or twice. Oh, but I was using Parappa. So I guess it's not really counting. But, yeah, that's like one of my main problems, is that's how it's going to be played. I'm really hoping that when the game comes out, that you can choose to do a different sort of thing, and there might be like fields that are like designed for people who prefer playing like the Brawl style of games. Though, that being very hopeful, I don't think it's going to happen. But I'm hoping. I'm allowed to have these hopes and dreams of mine here. So, that's one of my biggest complaints, is that the game style isn't really as enjoyable as Brawl is. And I know I don't personally like comparing games, but I mean, like, when you're doing like this big crossover system thing, you're going to want to try and outdo the best, and obviously Brawl is one of the better ones, and one obviously the well-known ones and whatnot. But I don't know if this is going to be a big contender. I mean, they have a really good roster that they're going to be releasing. A few of them I'm like, wow, that'd be really cool to play as that character, you know, the character from Medieval. Fuck, I haven't seen him in a while. In this beta, they only let you try one tutorial, which is good because that way you know what the fuck you're doing, and then online play. Online right now is a little finicky, because of all the times I went to play, majority of the time I would find out that the connection was bad, or there was a problem, or something failed, and I'm like, oh fuck, I hope it's not like this during the full game. Another really cool thing is you can have people play like on the couch and also with people online at the same time, which I love that feature all the time. It's like, that has to be like a must-have in all games. If you have online, you should also let local play join in as well. So that's really good. They give you 2 levels to try out, which is Metropolis from Ratchet and Clank, which has like a mix of these Hydra characters or whatever, which I think are from the God of War series. I'm not sure. I barely play that game. But, and then they also have Hades, from God of War, which gets mixed in with, Padawan or something like that. Padawan. And that level's interesting, too, because, like, the evil Hades dude that's in the background destroys the platforms in the foreground and can actually affect the characters. That's really cool, I like that. And then, like, in the Metropolis, the stage is constantly shifting, so, like, you got conveyor belts at the bottom, you got things that are coming out, they make platforms and they'll, like, go back into, like, the wall, so, like, the platforms won't be there. And then, so at some point, this, like, grinding thing comes in the middle and you get caught in that. Really cool. And I'm really hoping because I think I've only seen, like, 3 levels that are going to be in this game so far. The other one is, sorry, the other one would be, the Little Big Planet creation mode or whatever, which would be really cool, because that's actually going to be sort of like the PictoChat level in Brawl, basically. So yeah, so far the game looks like it's going to be interesting. There are obviously huge complaints that I have with the game itself. Hopefully they fix things like the constant problem with the online, because that's going to be like a huge way to play. I think, like, out of all the games I have, when that comes out, I'm probably going to be playing that online, like, a lot. That and Little Big Planet Racing, because it's Little Big Planet Racing. So yeah, I guess that's all I have to talk about, unless I can figure out something I want to say about game. Sorry, I have it on my TV just so I can remind myself of things, like the characters. Oh, another thing. This is just the beta itself, but I always hate when the games do this, because Tokyo Jungle does this as well, and it pisses me off. It's where you have to go through the terms of agreement every fucking time you want to play the damn game. So it's like, okay, I'm gonna go and do this, and it's like, oh, I gotta scroll through this large term of agreement and hit agree. It might sound very nitpicky, but I mean, like, that sort of like really slows the game down a little bit. It's like, ugh, I gotta spend like a couple seconds trying to scroll through like this fucking huge ass thing that nobody reads. Nobody ever fucking reads them. And if someone does, then you probably really don't want to play the game. So, yeah. Oh, speaking of which, I probably broke a term of agreement by talking about it, but whatever. Whoops. I'm doing opinionative things. Okay, so yeah, that's the dealio about what the demo is, and hopefully things get fixed. The roster's looking good. I think no matter what, I'm gonna grab this game. Oh, that reminds me. One thing I didn't get a chance to try, or at least I don't think I got a chance to try, was in the beta you can do the crossplay between the system and the Vita. I obviously don't have a freaking Vita, but it's there to try, and I don't know how well that works and the complications between the two, but it's there. So I'm assuming I probably might have played with a few people who were using a Vita instead of the system, but if I did, I didn't notice it. And I guess that'd be. I really hope there's. I hope that it's a little more structured a little bit, because I don't know how the Vita works. I don't know how close it is to the replication of the PlayStation 3 controller. If it's anything like the PSP, it's probably not as close. Because those people might be at a slight disadvantage, because the game uses all the buttons on the controller. It uses all the top buttons, it uses the face buttons and everything. So, I don't know if there's a disadvantage to the Vita owners because of that. I really hope there isn't. So yeah, other than that, there's nothing else I have to talk about. If I have anything to talk about, then I'm screwed. I guess I'll complain about it on Facebook. Okay, so, until next time, keep on gaming.